Hi everyone, just a quick note on today's video. After finishing the story of the Bojan Southern Front just a couple of days ago, I thought it would be the perfect time to dive into the story of Boja and the Save the Queen series. And I figured it would make a lot more sense to start at the beginning, which is to say with the first chapter that was introduced in 5.25. So the footage you will see in this first part is from back in April when 5.25 first came out, and we were experiencing and reacting to the initial chapter for the very first time. So this first part is an edited down experience of that first chapter, and in the subsequent parts we will dive into the more recent 5.35 story with the Bojan Southern Front. Let me know what you think, but I hope you enjoy it. Now on with the video. So I'm over here expecting to find out what happened to Midas Nangalon, Sid's father, and, you know, the truth of his meteor experiments and experiments with the lunar transmitter and what actually happened. I'm expecting to find out about that. I'm expecting to find out about Tartarus and, like, what Noah van Gebrandth has been up to. So hi. Hey, hi. My lord. My, what auspicious timing. I intended to send a missive to the Rising Stones, but it seems that is no longer necessary. I mean, that is auspicious timing, given that this is the first time we've been in Kugane in like 4 years. Master Hancock wishes to speak with you regarding a matter of grave import. I can but imagine what other duties yet demand your attention. Still, he would request you meet him at the Ruby Bazaar at your earliest convenience. Say, it was like a significant subplot of Stormblood that connecting all of these Othardian nations to the Alliance was largely an exercise by the East Aldenard Trading Company. And so he returns at last. From what Tataru has told me, oh jeez, already stumbling there. You've come rather a long way, to put it mildly. And while the Scions remained locked in slumber, she sought aid from all corners of the realm. In fact, it was I to whom she first turned, when searching for a champion to assist her in your absence. Though, as you have no doubt surmised, I did not call you here to discuss such matters. I have received word from Lord Hien that the Bozja Resistance, our comrades in the Eastern Alliance, seek the aid of distinguished heroes in their fight against the Empire, and naturally your name immediately sprang to mind. Didn't realize they were part of the Eastern Alliance. Yeah, they were not last we knew. Indeed, though the city-state has long since fallen to Gallian machinations, the remnants have agreed to join our cause. Well, I mean, that's just the same as Rabanastre, isn't it? And with the Empire now in disarray, they would seize the opportunity to fight back. If you know the details in full, I think it best you speak with Lord Hien. His endless list of commitments make him a hard man to find, however, so perhaps you can have one of his attendants in the House of the Fierce track him down for you. When word reached us from the Bozjan Resistance, Lord Hien knew at once there was but one man to whom he could turn. He left the coattails not long ago. The view of Doma Castle helps to calm his mind. This way, if you please. I gotta say, I was not expecting to be hanging out with Hien here. I should have expected, like, I shouldn't have been terribly surprised that our inroad here would be through the Othardian Alliance, but Boja's not in Othard. Do you remember when first we shared a view of this castle together? Still under the Garlean's control, perhaps, and for all their wickedness, its beauty would not be so easily sullied. Oh, who's this now? It is good to see you, my friend. You must forgive me for foregoing pleasantries, but our guest here is in dire need of your help. Marsak of the Bozjan Resistance. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. As you have no doubt already heard from Lord Hien, my people seek to reclaim our homeland from the Empire. Under his auspices... Oh shit, we're gonna get the auspices in here? Hell yeah, let's go call Tamamo no Gozen. Get like Suzaku in there. That's a great idea, dude. Let's do it. No? Just me? Alright, okay. and that of the Eosian Alliance. we aim to do just that. However, we recently received word that the 4th Imperial Legion has been making plans of their own. It has long held the provinces of Naksha, Dalmasca, and Bozja in an iron grip, using its Dalmascan headquarters to house the bulk of its forces. Okay. Did we already know that they held Naksha? They never, really, properly conquered Naksha, though. Until recently, that is. Because, Naksha is just so much, wild jungle, and it's kind of like Burma, I guess? So they kind of, control it, but they've been dealing with, rebels and partisans and all of that, consistently, and haven't really, subjugated it properly. Why does this dude sound like a Khajiit? Because he's a buff Khajiit. Look at him. That's all he is. They appear to be diverting resources and manpower to their forces stationed in Bozja. In fact, 3 battalions are en route as we speak. We thought perhaps to strike before they can fully assemble, but the Bojan resistance lacks the means to drive them off on its own. Aid from the Dalmascan resistance groups may have sufficed. Sadly, even Fran of Lente's Tears has been unable to bring an end to their infighting. All hope was not lost, however, for Lord Hien has made a most intriguing proposal. An idea not my own, I must confess. We have our old friend Gosetsu to thank. Gosetsu gonna be in Bozja? What the hell? Oh, this is crazy. As the Empire tightened its grip on Toma, our people were at a crossroads. They lay down and surrender or stand up and fight. Yugiri's right there. You sought me out that I could become the spark that lit the fire of rebellion. The same must be done for the Bozjans. They require a standard under which they can rally, a symbol of hope to steel them for what is to come. Lacking a living figurehead such as Lord Hien, my comrades and I looked to our nation's past for inspiration. There we found the answer we sought, Gunhilder's blades. I wonder if I'm going to get unique dialogue here for having leveled Gunbreaker. They were the elite guard of Queen Gunhilder, possessed of weapons blessed by the gods. Their exploits would become legend after defending our peoples against the Alligans in the Third Astral Era. Wait, are we about to learn that Gunhilder's blades were not strictly gun blades? Is that what's happening here? The strength of their steel was matched only by their dedication to the Queen. Should one lose their life in her service, their holy blade was then passed on to its successor. In time, their title would lend itself to the most renowned of their weaponry, the gunblades. But in truth, each member of her guard was master of a unique weapon. Okay. Alright. They were all called okay, wait. The weapons that Gunhilder's blades wielded were called gunblades because they were Gunhilder's blades. It was an abbreviation of that. And they used what we now think of as gunblades and were called gunbreakers because they targeted the Allagan gunners and broke them. And what the Allagans had were called guns because the Bozjans looked at them and were like, oh, those are like gun blades, but without the blades. So it's all like arse backwards in the reasoning why they're called guns. So gun blades are not called gun blades because they're guns with blades. Guns are called guns because they're gun blades without blades, right? So we already had this explanation for why they were called gunblades, why they were called gunbreakers, and the fact that all of Gunhilder's blades were gunbreakers. And now we're getting a contradiction of that, it seems. So now they're like, no, they weren't even all gunbreakers, or they were all gunbreakers, because they were all performing that function of breaking the guns, but they weren't all using gun blades to break the guns. And the ones that weren't using gun blades were the ones that became synonymous with gunbreakers, even though they were all gun blades. So there were gunbreakers that were using spears, and their spears were called gun blades because they were the weapons of Gunhilda's blades. So they just called everything gun blades and everyone gunbreakers? I don't know, this seems like a real knot we've tied ourselves into here.
Though the sacred relics have been lost to time, I would see them forged anew. Armed thus, our people would know no fear, and drive back our oppressors just as Queen Gunhilda did the Elegants. An admittedly lofty and otherwise unattainable goal for one such as I, which is why I've traveled far and wide in search of great minds and greater heroes who might lend us their aid. We would be honored to have one of your renown at our side.
We value the Bozjan's commitment to the cause, and I would see their plans come to fruition. Unfortunately, duty demands that I remain here. I would not in good conscience leave, knowing the Empire yet threatens the border to Alamigo. Should you choose to accompany him to Bozja, might I ask that you also act as a representative of the Eastern Alliance in my stead?
Leave it to me.
Thank you, my friend. If there is aught else you require of the Eastern Alliance, you need only ask. Safe travels to you both.
An airship to our base has been prepared for us at the Enclave's dock. I hope to see you there soon.
Okay. Let's do it, let's go. Ooh, look, we see the Boja flag, and oh man, I'm really excited for this.
When you have finished your preparations, meet me at the dock and we can be on our way.
Alright, Marsak, I am here.
Our destination is Gangos, the Resistance present base of operations. To ensure we remain unnoticed by the Empire, the ship is one of the few permitted to travel twixt Doma and the other provinces. Should you have need to travel to Gangos in the future, I ask you come here to do so.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, let's do it. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh my god, it's didgeridoo here. Hell yes, Soken. Holy shit, my boy pulling out the didge. I mean, it's probably synthesized, but still, holy shit. Okay, so I guess Boja is Australia.
That we should play host to the liberator of Doma and Alamigo himself. I did not think you could be persuaded to help us. Baj Saljan.
Is that right? Baj Saljan.
Baz Saljan, leader of the Bozjan resistance. Not the best choice for the job, if I'm to be frank, but I will bear the title all the same.
I feel like I should be giving him Aussie accents now. Oh, here we go. Wait. I think I know who this is.
Bloody hells, man! You don't inspire much confidence speaking like that.
It's your boy!
You're quite right, Master Geralt. Geralt. What do I call you again? Is it hard G or soft G? While you're here, won't you come and welcome our guests? Ah, what the 7 hours are you doing here? Eorzia's greatest hero and her finest blacksmith. With the two of you here, our plan is sure to succeed. Would that Queen Gunhilda were here to witness this. Oi, Ethys, just between us, I'm only here to pay off me debts to that black-hearted snake, Rowena. She's been selling supplies to the Resistance, and I happen to...
Wait, did his accent just change from, like, Scottish to Cockney there? Shit.
I happened to mention that they were in need of a smithy. So she went and told them I'm the greatest bleeding smithy in the realm with skills that'd put Byron himself to shame. Can't rightly say I'm even half of what she claimed. I'll do me damnedest. They're happy to ply me with good grub and even better booze, so play along, will you? Now that you're both here, I believe it's time our plans be made clear. Messiah?
Yes, of course. Our goal is to reforge the weapons wielded by Gunhilda's blades. Simple in principle, less so in execution. Oh man, I'm so happy to have another Femro on board. It's been too long. The weapons themselves, and most of the text denoting the history of Her Majesty and her guard, were lost to the devastation of the Fourth Umbral Calamity. Okay. That said, we have managed to obtain certain pieces of information, and coupled with Master Geralt's knowledge and expertise, we have made great strides in reproducing these vaunted Blades of Eld.
We've worked out the manner of weapons they wielded, their shape and weight, even the materials needed for me forge. But we've learned bugger all about what gives them spirit.
I'm gonna, like, get ahead of you there, Geralt, just a little bit, because you and I have done this, 1, 2, 3 times now. Anima! They need anima. It is said Queen Gunhilda etched a holy inscription into each blade, thus granting them the power of the gods. Unfortunately, no records of any such engravings remain, but there is still hope. Though not but pale imitations, there once existed replicas which may very well have borne these inscriptions. Alas, they were lost when Boja Citadel fell. Tell me more!
Do you know of the Boja Incidents?
Yeah, unfortunately I do.
That a worldly adventurer such as yourself would know of this is of no surprise. If I may, I would share the tragic tale of our homeland. 15 summers past, the Garleans were conducting experiments, seeking a means to make contact with the lesser moon Alamut.
Okay, that's a very specific year reference we have there.
They believed the satellite to be possessed of immense power, and a lunar transmitter was erected in the hopes of harnessing it. But when the transmitter was activated and the signal sent, Alamut responded with an immense blast of raw energy. The destruction wrought defied reckoning. Okay, that's consistent with what we already knew, and our thoughts that it was perhaps some kind of terror flare. The Citadel, the relics of Queen Gunhilda's kingdom, naught was left but smoke and ash. Okay, so it wasn't just deleted. As Gaius was sort of implying, it just like not destroyed so much as just like erased. Hope ain't lost yet though. The Citadel's been wiped off the bloody map, aye, but there's still a way for us to find those inscriptions. Or so I've been told. An explanation better left to one far more knowledgeable than I.
Yo, there she is.
I reckon I'll leave the lass over there to you. Scully types like her have a knack of ramming me the wrong way. I can hardly understand half of what they say in the first place.
Yeah, fair enough.
We have enlisted the aid of a scholar from Sharlayan, who would be better suited to explaining the intricacies of our plan. Unless, of course, you have another question for me.
Yeah, dude. Tell me about the 4th Imperial Legion, dog.
The initial invasion of Bozja was led by Bash van Gabranth. There would be a change of commander not long after, however.
Interesting. Bash, you say?
30 years ago, during the invasion of Dalmasca, his health took an unexpected turn for the worst, and his son, Noah van Gabranth, oversaw the conquest to its completion. He was a mere 20 years old when he assumed full command. The 4th Imperial Legion itself is rather unique compared to most. For the bulk of the forces are not native Garleans, their present leader included.
Interesting.
Both Noah and his father were quite quick to bend the knee to Emperor Solus, from what I've been told. Perhaps it was that ardent loyalty that helped them rise to such prominence. Not all were such fervent followers of the Empire. Quite the contrary, I would hazard. The greater part of their soldiers were like us, seeing little recourse but to serve, lest they be put to the sword. Though I suppose the unwavering loyalty of the 4th Imperial Legion is what serves to set it apart from the rest. Or to be more precise, its loyalty to Noah van Gabranth. What's more, you will come to find they are not wont to rely on Magitech armaments like most Imperial soldiers. Indeed, they seem to prefer fighting the old-fashioned way, employing arcane magics, techniques akin to summoning, and all manner of feral beasts rather than depending on heavy artillery. Beastmaster? Beastmaster confirmed? Though if recent reports are to be believed, these would be the least of our concerns. The battalions en route to Bozja are said to be led by Leonsas Helsos. He is a strategist whose cunning is matched only by his renown as a tamer of beasts, and it is rumored that he alone is worth more than 1,000 rank-and-file troops. One might say he has history with the Resistance.
Okay, tell me about Noah.
Ah yes, the leader of the 4th Imperial Legion, one of the youngest ever to take such a position. His father, Bash van Gabranth, served as legatus before him, claiming many a victory in the name of the Empire. Bash was a knight of the Republic of Landis, which, like so many other nations, was fast to thwart the hand of the Empire. Rather than die with dignity, he was quite quick to bend the knee to their conquerors, ingratiating himself with the Emperor and earning his place as legatus.
Landis, Republic of Landis. Why does that sound familiar? The Republic of Landis was a republic in Final Fantasy XII located on the continent of Valendia. Little is known about this small region, and it has since been invaded and occupied by the Arcadian Empire. Bash and his brother, Noah von Rosenberg, hail from Landis, but while Bash fled to Dalmasca and continued to fight against the Arcadian rule, his brother accepted the occupation of his homeland Rosenpower to become an Arcadian Judge Magister. Okay.
This was quite a feat, given that he was not of Gallian blood. One can but imagine the lengths to which he went to earn their trust, but it is clear he labored hard to keep it. His health took an unexpected turn for the worse during the invasion of Dalmasca, which afforded Noah the opportunity he needed to rise to prominence. And it was under Noah's leadership that Rabanasta would fall. Then, when his father passed 2 years later, he was named the next legatus of the 4th Imperial Legion. Many believe it was the conquest of Dalmasca that earned him the position, but some argue he was appointed on the recommendation of the Emperor, perhaps in recognition of his father's service to the Empire. Regardless of the reason, Noah would continue in his father's footsteps. The 4th Imperial Legion would continue to be comprised primarily of foreign soldiers, and their loyalty to the newly appointed legatus was unfaltering. One might expect such a legion to remain within the Emperor's good graces, but it would not be so when Varus took the throne. For several years, he appointed them to the quelling of uprisings in remote provinces, as if to keep them at arm's length. Perhaps he suspected an ulterior motive to the Gabranth seeking to gain such fervent adoration from the 4th Imperial Legion. I have no proof, of course, but one cannot help but wonder.
Interesting. Castrum Lacus Litor.
It was once known as Alamut Fortress.
Alamut is an old Caspian castle in Iran. A site of intense activity for the Hashashins. I think Genghis Khan took this castle at some point with great difficulty. Oh yeah, here we go. Surrendered the fortress to the invading Mongols, who dismantled and destroyed its famous library holdings. Yes, okay, that's how I know it. Okay, cool. The Hashashins. Yeah, so the word assassin, its root is Hashashin, and they were a cult, effectively, of assassins, right? But the name came from, they would basically kidnap children from local villages and stuff as initiates, and they would give them like ridiculously high doses of hash oil, and basically like at least like, you know, this is the kind of myth. They would put them in these dungeons full of like, you know, rotting corpses and stuff while they were like tripping out for weeks, and then sort of like basically use that to break them, and then kind of offer them some, you know, alternative or clemency, or like come to them and be like, I'm gonna save you from this place and you're gonna join us. And that was like their initiation and why they were like so hardcore, like dedicated to the cause. But yeah, the root of assassin is Hashashin. So we're in Iran with didgeridoos, I guess?
After the Boja Incident, it would be rebuilt and given a new name, Castrum Lacus Litor. Its position to the north of Bozja will make it a critical strategic point in the battles to come. If we are to have any hope of reclaiming Bozja, we must first gain control of the castrum. The location was originally chosen for its natural defenses. Being surrounded on all sides by steep cliffs made Alamut Fortress all but impregnable.
That is exactly the same as like the real historical Alamut Fortress, actually. It was built like up on a plateau, and there was this one like little kind of winding cliffside road that would go up to it. So it was basically impossible to invade because it could be defended by like one dude basically standing on this narrow cliffside path, and an invading army would have to go up single file, and you know, there'd be like various traps and stuff, but like you could defend it with one guy effectively against an army. They've kind of drawn a lot from it there.
Assuming, of course, one had the wherewithal to defend it. When the Garleans came, their Magitech weaponry was unlike anything we had ever seen. A great many lives were lost in our struggle to hold the fortress, and in the end we were simply outmatched. At present, the castrum is held by Legatus Gabran's second-in-command, Menenius Rem Lanatus. An interesting choice, to say the least. Lanatus is a well-known family with a long and august lineage. That is, until they incurred the ire of the Emperor, tarnishing their name and robbing them of their position in Gallian society. And yet Bashvan Gabranth would choose members of their family to serve under him. Mayhap he sensed their desperation to redeem their honor. If that is the case, the road to redemption is long indeed, for 2 generations of Lanatus have served under the Gabranths. Imagine the recognition they would receive for thwarting our attempts to take the fortress. You can be sure he would do all in his power to stop us. I serve primarily as liaison betwixt the Bozjan resistance and our allies. I'll not deny there is still much for me to learn, but I will do everything within my power to see Bozja free of the Empire. If that should mean my life, then so be it. You wish to know of my past? It is no different than most, I would imagine. Conscription by the Empire, which is the only reason I was not present in the Citadel to die alongside my kin in the Boja Incident. Some would call it a massacre planned by the Empire, but I'm not ready to believe they would willingly kill so many of their own soldiers and engineers.
No. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of conspiracy involved here. Fuck, maybe Midas is still alive, you know? Wouldn't that be something?
Having been raised under the Gallian doctrine, I realize that not all of them are the bloodthirsty monsters many of us would paint them to be. Though the Empire would seek to oppress us, I do not share the same animosity towards its citizens as my resistant comrades. But these are musings best left between the two of us, yes. I would not have the others think me a coward or a traitor to our cause.
Are you and Mikoto acquaintances by any chance? Her explanations can be convoluted at times, but I trust she can make clear our plans. Is there anything else you wish to ask me? Yeah, dude. Oh my god, look at this lore dump. This is so good. During the Third Astral Era, Queen Gunhilda united the fragmented tribes of the Hrothgar to rise up and drove off the Alligans, eventually going on to found the nation of Bozja. It should be noted that Gunhilda was not her name, but rather a title bestowed to the current monarch of any given age. Common thread connecting all rulers of Bozja is their ability to read the stars. There were others who shared this ability, but they were said to be the greatest seers of their respective ages. Okay, so they were astros, that's cool. They were also said to be great warriors. When doing battle with the Alligans or any other would-be invaders, the Queen would always be found commanding from the front lines. Alas, Bozja would fall in the wake of the Fourth Umbral Calamity. By some miracle, some few survived and were able to build what we knew as the city-state of Bozja. Wait, this is implying here that Bozja held out against the Alligans. Because I was under the impression that, like, they held out pretty well against Allig, but were eventually conquered. And this is implying that they were not. Well, okay. Tell me about Gunhilda's blades. They were the elite guard of the Queen, masters of myriad arms and magics, said to be the greatest warriors of their age. Their combat prowess was matched only by their devotion to Queen Gunhilda. They would not hesitate to give their lives in her service. And should one of these warriors fall in battle, their holy blade would be passed on to a suitable successor. Over time, their title as Gunhilda's blades would become synonymous with the Gunblade, which gained great renown during the war against the Alligans. It seems to me like they'd already kind of like written the explanation for the Gunblades and Gunbreaker naming. They'd kind of like worked that out before they wrote any of this stuff. There's not a Bozjan alive who does not know the tales of their heroism. I've no doubt reforging these weapons will lend us both the strength and resolve we need to succeed. Okay, so it's basically the Bozjan Zodiac Braves. Tell me about the weapons you plan to forge. With Master Geralt's help, we have nearly all that is required to reforge the weapons of Queen Gunhilda's guard. While it is true the legends of their might are duly inspiring, to simply call them the Blades of Gunhilda would do little to differentiate these new armaments from the weapons of Eld. After all, we do not wish to give the impression that the originals have been recovered. After much thought, Master Geralt offered a simple and surprisingly satisfactory suggestion of resistance weapons. He also went on to make a rather curious remark about the steps to be taken in their forging, but these weapons can be enhanced further in accordance with the enemies one faces. Okay, so I guess they're going to involve anima in some way. By the sounds of it, these weapons are never truly complete until their purpose is fulfilled. It's been 2 years since I joined the Resistance. Before then, I lived as all Bozjans did, under the harsh rule of the Empire. It's the only life I've ever known, though my parents often spoke to me of what they remembered from the days of Bozja's independence. It was under the auspices of our Gallian oppressors. I was educated in prehistoric archaeology. Oh? While I am thankful for the opportunities it afforded me, I could not turn a blind eye to the suffering of my people, and so I left to join the Resistance. It was I who proposed to reforge the fabled weapons of Queen Gunhilda's guards, and Bashalian, Baj Salishan, that's such a tongue twister, that one, has chosen to place his faith in my plan. I take heart in knowing all I learned from the Empire will be put to good use. Alright, Bashalishan.
I believe Mikoto would be better suited to explaining the latter half of our plan, unless there is something else you wish to discuss. Our homes rest in the southern reaches of Ilzibat, to the west of Dalmasca. Our earliest records, or at least those we have been able to recover, suggest Bozja was founded at some point during the Third Astral Era. The Allagan Empire had reached the height of its power, and several tribes of the Hrothgar came here seeking refuge from their supremacy.
So Bozja was actually founded as like a remote resistance cell within the Empire.
It was Queen Gunhilda who would keep the Alligans at bay. Her radiance would light our path to prosperity, and by her grace was the nation of Bozja founded. Alas, the Fourth Umbral Calamity would see the end of her kingdom. But those who survived slowly rebuilt, and Bozja was born, reborn as a city-state that would coexist with neighboring nations for centuries to come. The Gallian Empire's rise to power changed everything. None could oppose the sheer strength and versatility of their military. Their campaign began some 50 years ago, and now an entire generation of our people has been raised knowing only oppression. But now they would know freedom. When word reached us that Alamigo and Doma had risen up to defy the Empire, we seized the opportunity to flee and form pockets of resistance. With Rodhian's assistance, the several groups that had formed were merged into a single cohesive force, and I was chosen as its leader. If the 4th Imperial Legion is able to consolidate its forces in Bozja, however, our efforts will be for naught. We have to strike back, and soon.
Okay, tell me about Gangos.
For the present, this is our base of operations, to the southeast of what remains of Bozja Citadel. When the fighting begins, we will hold the line here. For a blessing, the surrounding wetlands and the fog that persists year-round have served to conceal our operation. That is not to say, of course, we have not taken additional measure to remain hidden. In the unlikely event that our scouts should approach the perimeter, our mages have cast a cloaking spell around the area to keep us from sight. Havens such as these are plentiful along the southern coast of Irzibat. Our facilities are rather modest, I confess, but I would like to think we have made great strides in providing for our soldiers here. Thanks to the generosity of our allies here in the east, as well as the Eosian Alliance, we do not want for provisions or arms. All that remains is to secure the blades of Gunhilder.
Okay. Tell me about the Boja Incidents.
It was roughly 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Now that is very interesting. We had one guy say 15. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh shit, Final Fantasy XIV time bubble. That's implying that like the 15 years there is implying that no time has passed from the beginning of ARR to now. But if we're being vague about it and we're like, it's somewhere between 15 and 20 years. That gives us a little bit more leeway, makes the bubble like a little bit more flexible.
The Empire, fearful of the threat posed by primals and the tribes who summoned them, devised a plan to wipe them out. The Meteor Project. Through the use of Magitech, they intended to recreate ancient sorcery capable of calling down meteors. At the helm of the project was their chief engineer, Midas Nangarond. In time, every last one of their research facilities was involved in its development. The project would take a perilous turn when it was discovered that the lesser moon Dalamud was in fact a satellite of elegant design. They were determined to make it part of their plans. And so they erected a colossal transmission tower designed to control Dalamud. Its first test would also prove to be its last. For lack of eyewitnesses, what happened next is difficult to describe. It is often described as an explosion, but the ruins showed no signs of gunpowder or magic. We only know that a terrible light shone from the heavens that night. In an instant, the citadel was gone. Its citizens and soldiers. My family.
Okay, and there again we have another... I mean, this is more consistent with what Gaius was telling us originally, like back in 1.0, I believe. No one is certain why Dalamud responded with such destructive force. All work on the Meteor Project was halted immediately. 5 years later, however, Neil Van Daan set the wheels of the project back into motion. His devotion was rewarded with the coming of the 7th Umbral Calamity. The world has already paid to greater cost for the Garleans' ambition. They must be stopped. Okay, what about yourself?
I was born in Bozja, though I have never known a life free from the Empire's rule. Following in my late father's footsteps, I studied to become a doctor. Much to my surprise and dismay, my academic accomplishments did not go unnoticed. I was taken to the capital, where I received a formal education in medicinal sciences. Deployment as a medic in their military soon followed. My service was ultimately rewarded with citizenship, after which I met my wife, and we started a family together. Their goal was for me to grow content and complacent. It failed. For not a day went by that I did not think about the liberation of my homeland, but I would need to bide my time a while longer, for I was assigned to the 4th Imperial Legion. There was an uprising in Nagsha, and it fell to us to quell their insurrection. It was not until after our mission was complete that I learned of what happened to Bozja, my family. We returned as fast as we were able, but there was nothing left of the citadel. I was ordered to return to the capital, but I had to find my wife and children. I covered every elm of that barren wasteland, and nothing. Chains and a prison cell greeted me back in Galamod, but in spite of my confinements, whispers of what happened in Bozja eventually reached me, of their failed experiments to control Dalamud. Stripped of my citizenship, I expected to remain under lock and key until the end of my days. Fortunate for me, they had need of more medics for their next campaign. But I would never reach the battlefield, where I escaped with a number of other soldiers to join the resistance. Many years of service to the resistance then molded me into the man who now stands before you, and I will continue to serve for as long as it takes to see our homeland safe from the Empire.
It's good to see you again, Ethys. Though I had hoped to accomplish more before your arrival, I'm sure your help will be as invaluable now as it was aboard the Prima Vista. You're far too kind. If not for your heroism, Ramsar and Alma would have...
From the onset of our endeavor, it was abundantly clear that one versed in etherology would be essential. We relayed this to the Alliance, who then introduced us to Mikoto. She is said to be one of the most brilliant minds among the students of Baldesion.
Oh, that's right, she was one of the students of Baldesion, wasn't she? And yet, it is my ineptitude that demands your presence here. I was all but certain that Geralt and I alone would suffice in this. Alas. The matter she speaks of concerns a long-forgotten practice in the holy men, who once inhabited these lands. Utilizing uniquely aspected crystals, these seers were able to provide succor for those with ailments of the mind. They possess the ability to shape their very memories, removing those deemed harmful and replacing them, that the patient may find some semblance of peace. Wow, that sounds a lot like Orosite.
I, too, dismiss the notion that such practices could exist. That is until a recent excavation unearthed compelling evidence of their work. The crystals we believe were used in their healing. Unfortunately, we were unable to discern how they are meant to be used. It was at this juncture that we petitioned for Mikoto's assistance. Alas, made any progress?
My initial analysis suggests the crystals were artificially created at some point in the distant past. The materials used suggested they were most likely produced by the ancestral peoples of this area. What's more, their ethereal signature is strikingly similar to the oscillatory activity of brainwaves, which, when made to resonate with the distinct frequency NRR-type harmonic vibrations of an individual's... I've done it again, haven't I? Yeah, I mean, it's the same explanation. She's just saying that they're basically Orosite. I think a simpler approach is in order. Every living being is comprised of corporeal ether of the flesh, incorporeal ether of the soul, and the ethereal residue of their memories. Okay, that's an interesting way to describe memories. Ethereal residue. Because we've kind of thought of them as like two different forms of anima over the course of, 5.0, 5.1, 5.2. Were one to be possessed of only corporeal ether, they would be but a walking corpse. Conversely, entities comprised of only incorporeal ether, referred to in layman's terms as ghosts. In either case, they may also retain some of their residual memories.
Aye, zombies and ghosts, I follow.
These crystals are able to isolate and resonate with the ethereal signature of memories. This allows the seers to probe the minds of their patients. Okay, this is research that would be very useful to Becklug and Grahatir at the moment.
That's all well and good, lass. But what if their mind ain't what it used to be? Or if they was too deep in their cups to remember what you're looking for?
An excellent question, Master Geralt. We're all possessed of two types of memory, explicit and implicit. As their name suggests, explicit memories refer to an active remembrance of previous experiences, while implicit memories are acquired and stored passively. Okay, so like the Star Shower. For example, when making a new acquaintance, their appearance will become part of your explicit memory, allowing you to recall that information. Should a great deal of time pass without meeting, however, such recollection can prove difficult. Yet in that moment, your mind also takes a record of the sounds and smells, the location, the temperature, and so on. Perhaps a demonstration would better explain this phenomenon. Thankfully, that will not be necessary. When I first told of the seers and their practices, I was immediately reminded of your ability to peer into the past. I believe these people were blessed with a similar gift, and it is for that reason they were chosen to serve as seers. Though I too am possessed of the echo, I lack the ability to peer into the past as you do, and thus have been unable to wield the power of these crystals.
That's why we called you here.
Until now, I could do naught but posit theories. With your help, however, I may now put them to the proof. Well, we know that a good number of the students of Baldesion did have the echo. That was a huge, studying the echo was one of the main purposes of the students of Baldesion. It was one of their main missions. And you, Master Geralt, shall be my first test subject. We're gonna do some echo diving into Geralt? Oh, hell yeah. Ethys, I would like you to recall the last time you experienced the echo. Concentrate on that feeling. Master Geralt, I need you to recall a memory of the past. Maybe anything you like.
You better not go poking around in there digging up some unsavory like you hear, lass.
Please, Master Geralt, focus. This is most unexpected. reasons I cannot yet explain, it appears the Echo has allowed me to accompany you into his memory. You're a skilled smith, Geralt, there's no denying that. But you hold money about as well as your liquor.
Well, what bloody good is money if you can't spend it? A man has to live a little, Rowena.
Aye, and it wouldn't hurt for a man to use his head neither. With all that talent of yours, I reckon you could have amassed a small fortune by now. Could have been you sitting on the syndicate instead of Godbert.
As if I'd ever want to be anything like that doddering old half-dressed.
Didn't realise my memory was so sharp. As you can see, Implicit Memory is surprisingly comprehensive. From the clear skies and ocean waves down to the exact words of your conversation, everything appears to have been perfectly preserved.
Yeah, you weren't listening to that, were you?
Every time something gives you good advice, you turn around and do the complete sodden opposite. I used to like that rebellious streak of yours, but now I see you're just a bloody idiot. Honestly, I don't know what I ever saw in you.
Whatever it is you think you saw,
it is if I've changed since then, and you haven't neither. Still as beautiful as the day we met.
Oh, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything like that. I swear on my last mug of ale.
Implicit memories, while quite comprehensive, are not always true to fact. In the case of painful or otherwise undesirable experiences, they can be obfuscated to protect oneself from hard truths. Our perception of reality can also distort them as well, even when first committed to the mind. Then, as time passes, such distortions can grow. Happy memories become more joyous, sad ones all the more bitter. Explicit memory is particularly sensitive to such misrepresentations of events. For man is want to remember what is most convenient for his worldview. That's why we seek the implicit, for there we are most likely to find the truth. Oh, it's so sad. Oh. So, these two were an item once.
The truth? Rowena and I were only here a week ago. Don't tell me my memory's that bleeding unreliable.
A self-imposed delusion, perhaps. As I said before, the mind has ways of concealing painful memories.
I ain't feeling so well, if you'll excuse me.
As you can see, these crystals allow us to choose specific points in a person's past to observe at will. Unlike the Echo, however, what we see will not always be as it really was.
Yet there remains the matter of finding one who has seen the replica weapons and their inscriptions.
At this present juncture, we might as well be looking for a ghost. After the Gallian invasion of Bozja, was all but cut off from the world. None were allowed in or out, meaning all of its residents, and likely any who may have glimpsed the weapons, died when the citadel was destroyed. But what about soldiers stationed there who were away at the time of the incidents? Even if we were able to find them, I doubt they could be persuaded to cooperate. Oh, hello. So this then...
No, please! Lord Varys! No!
What? The fuck was that? You saw it too? My visions, they are not of what has come to pass, but what is yet to be. Could it be the crystal allowed us to share my vision as well?
Mikoto, Ethys,
are you two alright? Are we fucking with time again?
Sid Garland, son of the monster behind the Meteor Project.
Come to think of it, Giri mentioned that Domer and the Eosian Alliance have been receiving support from Garland Ironworks. I thought that the company could use such a moniker, mere happenstance. Should use such a moniker, mere happenstance, but you mean to say Sid Garland owns this company?
The son of Midas Nan Garland lives.
He must be summoned at once. If he were at the Citadel prior to its destruction, it's quite possible he may have seen the replicas.
Fate is indeed a cruel mistress, pinning our hopes on a Gallian, the get of that bastard Midas no less. Is there truly no other way?
Sergeant, please.
Very well. I only hope our foreign comrades can forgive us. Please bring us this Sid Garland for the people of Bozja, for all of Ilzibat. I do not imagine he sympathizes with our plight, but from what I gather, he has no love for the Empire either. If that will suffice in persuading him to aid us, then so be it. I hear there are engineers stationed at Raba's Reach. Perhaps you can begin your search for Garland there.
Okay, so at the beginning of ARI, he was 34. Yeah, around like 36 now. He's mid-30s. The expansions are all very, like, different increments of time. And secondly, they're all, like, very vague about how great that increment actually is. Oh my god. You're wearing the glasses. Hell yeah. Say, aren't you Ethys, savior of Eorzea, liberator of Alamigo, and so on and so forth? The name's Yilya. Newest recruit to the Ironworks. What can I do for you? The chief? Too busy by half, according to Jesse. Between you and me, though, I think it's a load of... Oh, do go on. A load of what? I was saying what a load off your shoulders it must be, knowing the chief is back from whatever he was doing. Speaking of whom, Ethys said he wanted to speak with him about, what was it again? God damn it, Yilya. You might hear better than most, but you're a terrible listener. Do you mind starting again from the beginning? I see. Well, you just missed him. Serious wall is due for maintenance, and he had a mind to oversee it personally. That said, any matters concerning you are top priority. I'll see if I can reach him. I take it this is an average day for you. Must be hard. Always having to put on a brave face as you're thrust into danger, people tugging you this way and that like some sort of errand boy. Not that we don't appreciate what you do for us. Goodness knows we do. In fact, well, you'll see. I'm something of a fan. I knew the Ironworks, worked with you on occasion, but I didn't think I'd have a chance to meet you in person. Can I shake your hand? Oh, this is really awkward. Lilia, Sid being back took a load off of my shoulders, not yours. Work to do. Oh, right. Work. Duty calls. But hopefully we'll meet again soon. Chief says he'll meet you at the Derman Enclave. The most convenient of locations, but I'll have to do, I'm afraid. One more thing. The Boja Incident is something of a sore spot for the Chief. Even if it was an accident, most people outside of the Empire remember it as a massacre. Chief tried to put a stop to his father's experiment, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. Even now he still blames himself for it all. I should have tried harder, he'd say. I could have saved them. I could have saved all of them. Well, that genius, the man can't find a way to forgive himself. So if you're aiming to go digging through the past, be careful. I dread to think what demons he's got locked away in that brain of his. She's as tough as Magitech armor plating when she wants to be, but her heart's in the right place. Shame she's always so busy. As are you, if I'm not mistaken. I won't keep you any longer. Best of luck. Master Garland. Yes, I've seen him restlessly pacing about the Enclave. If you wait here, I'm sure he'll come by before long. It's hard to believe this place was, until recently, occupied by the Garleans. Doma has a long way to go before it regains its former glory. They're off to a good start. Yeah, I did that. Just by the way. So I've heard. The Bozjans wish to follow the Doman's lead. I plan to do what I can to help them. In fact, I've already spoken to Lord Hien and agreed to divert part of the Ironworks resources to assist in Doma's reconstruction. The offer seemed to have taken him by surprise, but I assured him that in addition to the Ironworks' commitment to freedom through technology, I have my own reasons to reverse the destruction wrought by the Empire. While it's true that I eventually defected, I played no small part in the development of Magitech now used by their military. Sometimes it's the threads you can't see that have the strongest ties. Would that I could cut them. How did Lord Hien take your response? Our talks were focused mainly on the reconstruction, as we thought it best to wait for your arrival to discuss how I might help the Bozjans. If I could have made my father see reason, there would have been no Boja incident. But I was powerless to stop him. Yes, you're right. There's a time for wallowing in self-pity and a time for action. I plan to do whatever I can, Bojan resistance. They're up against the 4th Legion. If they're to stand a chance, their allies here in the east won't be enough. Going to need all the help they can muster. I'm not entirely sure what part I'll have to play in all this, and I doubt anything I do will be enough to atone for my past mistakes. But if it means throwing a spanner in the Empire's works, count me in. I'm still trying to work out how something that's supposed to be used to trigger the echo could be predictive, right? Could give us visions of the future. That's a real conundrum. If you're ready, I would begin our exploration. Think back to your time at Bozja Citadel. You needn't focus on a specific memory if that helps. Alright, just promise me you'll be careful in there. Well, if Mikoto's echo is seeing the future, that's something that that's like unprecedented. Even for the ancients, as far as we know, that's unprecedented. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is Boja Citadel, alright. At least I think it is. Was everything so distorted when you tested this before? In recollection, this place appears grossly incomplete. I can but assume your memory is being warped by your subconscious. Well, I'd rather not stand around laboring over details. Let's look for the transmission tower in the Principia. Anything of import would have been stored there. Did you see that? A military base appeared out of thin air. On my mind, I suppose. Did it appear because you mentioned the Principia, I wonder? Interesting. In the world, the road, it just ends. A consequence of your incomplete memories. You have to think back, Sid. Where did this road lead? It all seems so absurd. Recalling the Citadel shouldn't be so difficult. Remember where the Imperial troops were heading? Not specifically, no. But they were on edge. Something to do with the Academy's research. I remember the blue of the cobblestone streets. Not for the occasional military installation. It would have looked like any other city. Wait, I remember. You've done it, Sid. Road's returned. Oh, fuck, this is so cool. We should be able to reach the Principia if we keep heading north. I hope we get to come back in here and explore. Look, there's the transmission tower. Damn it all, the road's cut off again. Come on, Sid, you have to remember. Sorry, Ethys. Try as I might, my mind is drawing a blank. There's something around here that might jog my memory. Weapons and Magitech armor. Right. The fighting had already started and I was... Oh? Well done, Sid. Just press onward. All starting to come back to me now. Whoa! I just got serious motion sickness there. Tension in the air is palpable. Ah, right. The soldiers were on high alert that day. Oh man, look at this! The Bozja resistance had infiltrated the Citadel to stop the Academy's experiments. Oh, okay. Damn you! For Bozja! You suppose it's possible we can tamper with his memory? A curious question, one I believe worth investigating. Shall we? Alright. Okay. Anything else? Oh, interesting. I see. The memory appears to be mending itself. Interesting. Altering memories is easier said than done, it seems. Well, let's keep moving. Oh, this is so wild. Hey, that's a different Imperial standards. Look. I mean, there's the normal one. I guess that's like the Bozjan Imperial standards. Here we are, the Principia. Inside is the transmission tower. The 7 hells are these? Would they be a manifestation of your subconscious? If so, they likely seek to suppress your memories of the Citadel. Meaning they intend to purge us from your minds. We cannot let them. Okay. I guess this is kind of like the things you fight in the Dancer quests, or in the Pixie quests, I guess, as well, would be a similar phenomenon. Is there no end to them? We have to hold on lest they succeed in erasing us from Sid's mind. Alright. Curious if we can defeat these, but not the soldiers earlier. Perhaps they're not truly part of this memory. Can worry about that later. Come on. We're nearly to the tower. Oh, fuck, that looks so cool. Oh, dip. Yeah, okay, there we go. What? What? No, really? Are you sure I'm not suffering from a sudden onset of psychosis? Defeat Bahamut. Okay. I'll just solo Bahamut. Now, this really is like ARR and 1.0 nostalgia, the patch. Careful, I like not the looks of this. Thank you, I feel better now. Perhaps now your subconscious will be more forthcoming with the truth in this memory. Is that Sid? Do you recall this happening? Is that Midas? Holy shit, we about to see Midas? Father was so angry that day. Father, please, if you just look over this data. Enough, damn you. The next time you question me, it shall be the last. Now leave. You of all people should understand the risks. Why do you refuse to see reason? Rather unlike him to overlook data, no matter the source. Look here, he left behind his research documentation. You pick up the research documents and find page after page of meticulous calculations, observational data on Alamut. Young Sid posits that the lesser moon may very well possess the ability to harness and manipulate solar power. Moreover, the vast source of energy it has amassed over the millennia, should they be unleashed, would far exceed any parameters the transmission tower may have been designed to withstand. By the gods, this data, the Empire would invite a calamity. So many sleepless nights spent on those damned papers, all for nothing. My suspicions are correct. Then he was already... Never mind, let's press on. The truth awaits. Yeah, already tempered. You can say it. Like, that's what Sid had already suspected. They are. The replicas of Gunhilda's blades. Oh, fuck, that looks so cool. So what have they got to do with it? Know your place, whelp. The Meteor project cannot, will not, be stopped. Certainly not by the likes of you. No. No, this is wrong. Emperor Solus couldn't have been there. The fuck? The fuck, Varys? No. Please, Lord Varys, no! Sid. Sid, you mustn't forget. This is only a memory. Wow, we're like seriously in the Matrix now, aren't we? Oh shit. Sid Garland, bringer of ruin, herald of ash. Your father must be proud. How does it feel to know such calamity follows in your wake? That your failings bring death to all you hold dear? How come he gets a gun shield and a gunblade? And now you would set this filth against me? Very well. But one fate awaits those who oppose the will of the Empire. This is kind of nice. I was thinking when Xenos did the job for us that we'd never get a chance to fight Varys. This trauma is too much. He's lost control. But his memory is false, Ethys. Perhaps you can alter it with the echo. Think of your truest friends. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All of them. That was always your greatest strength. Instilling in others the courage to rise up. Courage to fight for what's right. If we were going to be real here, I would have Arenvold, Horribalder, Colton A, Gaius. I'll say you're up. Let's go.
Taste my steel. Your struggle shall avail you not.
Whoa. Okay, now he can fly. Alright, cool.
You dare defy me? Piteous worms, there'll be naught left of you but ash.
Ah, Urianger, my hero. I thought to offer you a quick, painless death. Alas. You would dash yourself against my shields? Very well. I will mount your heads upon my wall. I love that I didn't predict this. I love that I was looking at Bozja and it was making me think of like the anti-tower, and I thought that it was something like that kind of going on as a result of the lunar transmitter.
The Empire cannot, must not.
This isn't right either. Emperor Lord Varus, he wasn't there. The Academy was given full charge of the project. Though the events are as you remember them, this is not the truth. Not entirely. Whoever this is, your mind has been trying to protect you from them. Well, it's Midas, I would say. A tempered Midas probably went all Nel Deus Darnus, right? It isn't Varus, and who the hell's is it? Could I possibly have to hide from myself? Yeah, of course. So it was you who pulled the trigger. Father. Sid, look, his eyes. No. Can't be. I feel like we already knew this, Sid. Contact with Alamut was able to stir Bahamut's consciousness. It stands to reason the Dreadworm discovered a ways to link the tower and thereby enslave your father. In which case, there was nothing that could be done for him. There's no arguing or reasoning with such individuals. There's only the will of the primal. And if Bahamut was controlling your father at the time of the accident, then in all likelihood, it wasn't an accident. And so the truth finally comes to light. Well, that was a very, very interesting twist for that instance, wasn't it? Bahamut's thrall. No one was the wiser. Even your own son. I mean, it's nice to have the confirmation, but it was kind of a foregone conclusion.
You crazy bastards did it! Once Mikoto's described the inscriptions to me, I'll have those weapons forged in no time. On behalf of the Bojan resistance, you have my deepest thanks.
I'm just glad I could help.
Ever since that fateful day, the truth of what befell our loved ones has eluded us. I held the Empire and your father responsible for their part in the tragedy, and for many years that hatred was all that kept me going. Indeed, I was blinded by that hatred. So much, so that even you appeared to me as an enemy. I could not see the blood, sweat, and tears you have poured into bettering the lives of those seeking freedom from the Empire. I could see only a Garlean, and for that I am sorry. You can forgive me. Let us be allies, united against a common foe.
Come now. I'm the one who should apologize to you. After all my father and the Empire did, even if not all of their own volition, the crimes will never be forgotten. And hasn't even victory of the Empire won't be enough to ease such pain. And even now that I know the truth behind the Boja incident, what's done is make me question the choices that led me here to this moment. Regardless of the past, we keep pressing forward one step at a time. Freedom.
Just as the heroes of Eld would have done. The Bozjans grew up on such tales of fearless warriors pure of heart and unwavering in their conviction. Yet here we are, so full of doubt and uncertainty. Will we ever earn our place in the pages of history?
Cheer up, Bozjalan. We live long enough. Perhaps we'll be the ones to pen them. You say the crystal focus is no longer responsive. It would appear what stores of ether resided within it have been depleted. Did not expect our exploration of your mind to be such a taxing endeavor. Once I identify its etheric affinity and a power source with a compliant energy frequency, I'm confident its reserves can be replenished. I thought perhaps the Alliance could use it to extract information from some of their less cooperative Guardian captives. Nothing's ever that easy, is it? I'm afraid etherology is beyond the scope of my expertise, so I'll leave the rest to you. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call for me. Thank you for all your help, Master Sid. Well, I'd better head back. I have a mountain of work waiting for me. Before you go, if you ever feel lost, you can always talk to me. Uh-oh. Of course. If I run into any ether-related problems, you'll be the first to know. Oh, Mikoto, I'm sorry, but you're in a side quest, alright? It's not meant to be. This is an MSQ. I'm sorry, mate. It's not gonna happen. Right, I really must get to work on the crystal focus.
Everything is at last in place to begin work on the weapons of Queen Ganhilda's guard. Master Geralt will be able to apprise you of any further progress in their forging. In the meantime, we will begin preparations for battle. I look forward to seeing you on the front lines.
Meanwhile, at the Valnane in Dalmasca. Look at that armor. That's the late Allergan bending stuff, is it?
Our spies at the Gangos encampment have confirmed work on the blades of Gunhilda is underway. They are welcome to them. Who has need of such trinkets when the Lady of Blades will soon be in play?
Wait, what? Lady of Blades?
We will proceed as planned. When their forces reach Bozja, you know what must be done. Understood.
He's an Elizan.
The Empire is fated to fall, but in its place a new nation shall rise, grander and mightier than anything the Garleans could ever have dreamed.
Ooh. Spicy. Alright, okay.
And it shall be made possible by the very power they abhor.
Icons. The Lady of Blades is an icon. Who could that be? Oh shit, are we about to find out? On the edge of memory. That's... I mean, it would make sense that they could summon Gunhilda.
Ethys, I am Zlatan. It's an honor to meet you. I have not much experience with the Forge, but it is my hope that I might improve working under Master Geralt. The first step in my training appears to be getting him to remember my name.
You're here. Good. Ready to get working on the resistance weapons, lad? You like the name Resistance Weapon? It crossed me mind to call them Gunhilda's Blades, but after talking with Bozja, we figured it'd be too confusing, seeing as that's also the name of the Queen's Guard. Yeah, and, you know, the name of the weapons wielded by Gunbreaker. Any road, yeah, timing couldn't be better. Before we get working in earnest, I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what went on Sid's noggin. I've heard a fair bit from Mikoto, but I'd like to know if you saw any different. Sounds like I was right to ask you before setting to work. Seems to me those fancy markings in the weapons are mainly for show. I can copy them, aye, but that won't be enough. Like as not, they were carved into the hilts as well. And to make sure the spell can take hold, you'll need a finish with fine powder, what's conductive to ether. For material like that, I reckon you need to consult the Alchemist of Radzaran. Yeah, and I can only think of one person with close contacts there. Rowena? Aye, the Demoness of Coin. But not to worry, lad. It so happens she's been keeping up a steady shipment of supplies here on contract. If we say we need the powder for resistance, might as we can convince her to waive the costs. Yeah, I wouldn't count on that, eh? Don't usually want to do business for charity, I know, but it's worth a try, eh? I'll see about getting in touch with her, and after I do, go and meet her and figure out the rest. Well, you don't expect me to go and meet with her, do you? Working on the resistant weapons keep me too busy by half. And Drake here, what was your name again? Zlatan, Master Geralt. My name is Zlatan, but more importantly, what if Mr. Rowena doesn't agree to a charitable contribution to our cause? I'm sure if you and Mashalshin ask her nicely, she might come around. Never mind that, we've important work to do. As for where to find Rowena, before she left Gango, she said she'd be stopping over in Kugane on business. How about I ever meet you at the Umineko tea house? We're lucky, a nice cup of tea will brighten her mood. What the fuck are you doing here, mate? Ethys, my, that I should find you here of all places. Oh, it's best that's only right, considering I followed you. My well of inspiration has run dry, you see. And it's my hope that a chain of scenery might offer the impetus my work requires. And time again, you've proven a knack for finding fascinating locales with equally fascinating stories unfolding soon after. When such a tale finally does unfold, I should very much like to hear it. Gunhilda's blades were possessed of not one, but myriad weapons with which they saved their queen. Oh, to see the look on the Resistance soldiers' faces when Geralt's work was complete. Wait, save the queen? Why do those words sound so familiar? Ah, yes, of course. Queen Gunhilda was said to wield a holy blade bearing that name. Rather nonsensical moniker, if I may be so bold. Perhaps in ancient tongues it held some sense of grandeur. That Bozja still speak of her reign with such reverence is testament to their storytelling traditions. Traditions which may very well serve to rekindle the flames of this playwright's spirit. Which is to say, there is little I know of the blade, save for its name. When I at last find time to sit down and learn all there is to know of the Queen and her gallant guard, I shall regale you with a tale unlike any you've heard before. That'll fall to the mind of a dear companion. How thrilling, how compelling! Please tell me more. The spectre of the late Emperor Varus? I suppose even a figment of one's memory, assuming sufficient creative liberties are taken, can prove as fearsome as a man of flesh and blood. Admittedly, I cannot claim to have witnessed his prowess firsthand, but who has not heard tales of his savagery, unparalleled might? He's getting fucking one-shot by Xenos. Yes, I do believe inspiration has struck, my friend. The brutal battle of worlds which preceded a nightmarish clash twixt the Emperor and the realm's great liberator. You would dare approach me thus, Lord Varus scoffed. Where men of greater strength and mind both would flee, you dare commit to such folly. To which the liberator coolly replied, how else am I to smite thee, save, approaching? An admirable attempt. If I were still learning my letters, perhaps. It was my prose yet wants for inspiration. Might you humour me with a more detailed account of your confrontation? I acquire a more vivid picture if I am to do justice to your deeds. Well, well, well. I was wondering when you'd show up. Geralt told me everything. And luckily for you, my business here was at the Thavnarian consulate. Here you are. Enough powder for one of those resistance weapons you're forging. Wait a minute. What's in it for you? Got to hand it to Geralt. Seems he spends half his time getting deeper in debt, the other half avoiding payment. Fine by me, though. Thanks to his scheming, I have a little more leverage over the Resistance, and by extension him as well. I see. I see how it is. Pass along a message to Geralt and Basharshin for me, won't you? If they require more material for these weapons, I'd be more than happy to supply them. For a fee, of course. Same goes for you. I know you adventuring types are always looking to be prepared for any sort of encounter. You're thinking of forging another of these resistance weapons, and I suspect you are. You know where to go. I'll see to it my girls in Revenant's Torn out of Shire keep their shelves stocked. Till next time. All the weapons nearly finished, Ethys. Just needs a nice coating with that powder to finish the inscription. Hey? Of course you bloody well found what we needed. Plus I hate fattening our purse with another man's coin. At least now we can do our part for the Resistance. Ooh, looky that. Feast your eyes on some of my finest work to date.
Best of all, the inscription will react to your ether. A right fine weapon to rally the Bozjans. Drelzak, or Dryzak, is that an ill or an I? I reckon Gunhilda will be proud. Yo! That I should behold the glory of the fabled blades born anew. Hope is not yet lost. All in a day's work for your old pal Geralt. Of course, this is only the beginning. Your skills with a hammer were truly a sight to behold, Master Geralt. And to see Ethys wielding one of their old blades thus, it is as if I stand before one of the heroes of Eld. When the time comes to do battle with the Empire, our brothers in arms will look upon you and know courage. On behalf of the Boja resistance, I offer you my humblest thanks for your aid thus far. I'd love to start fresh on another weapon, but had to use every last morsel of the powder on that one. Meaning we would find ourselves indebted further to Mr. Shrowena were we to acquire more. I must consult Barjarshin before we proceed further. Looks like we're taking a short break then, eh? If you find yourself wanting for another weapon though, come back and speak with me helper. I've earned myself a nice big flagon of ale tonight to celebrate the forging, of course. Well, I guess I'll go and take a crack at the extreme mode. Well, everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I was hoping we'd get into Alamut. I guess that when we do have Alamut as a thing, as an instance, as a zone, like however it's presented, then we can like do a lower tier on that then, I suppose. But for now, thank you all very much. We got some answers, some confirmation about Midas and is being tempered, which we did always suspect. We got a bit of a clarification on what happened to Boja Citadel. It seems that it didn't get Tatarified or whatever. I mean, we will get something more in like 5.3, 5.35 probably. But here we go for now. That was quite a lore dump. All right, okay, take care everyone on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next thing. Bye.